Folks, I just got done watching Uncle Murder arguing with Tony Yayo about Diddy and the guy from Nickelodeon. That was the focus of the Quiet on the Set documentary. And Tony Yayo said that the reason why, um, let me put things into context for a minute. Now, Uncle Murda's whole thing was he didn't really want to discuss Diddy. He was like, Vlad, heck with that. How come we're not talking about the dude from Nickelodeon that did that stuff to them kids? You know, the guy from Nickelodeon. And Vlad acted all dumb and acted like he didn't know what he was talking about. Then Tony Yayo jumps in, and Tony Yayo was like, "Well, you know, it's a hip hop platform, and P Diddy is hip hop, so that's what we're talking about." And from there, Uncle Murder and Tony Yayo went back and forth on that, and a lot of stuff ensued. But to cut this short, basically it was just a whole lot of noise, a whole lot of yelling and shouting, and nothing resolved. And Vlad wanted to change the subject. But this is the thing that really caught my interest. Well, there were a few things that caught my interest. First off, Tony Yayo was like, "Well, this isn't a hip hop. This is a hip hop platform, and the dude from Nickelodeon isn't hip hop." And all right, Tony Yayo, I have a critical question for you. If Vlad is a hip hop platform, so to speak, then why is he interviewing organized crime figures? What do they have to do with hip hop? Why is he interviewing former law enforcers or attorneys or members of the cartel or people with knowledge of the cartel? Why does he have Michael Corleone Blanco, Patrick Bet David? So you're saying that, okay, we could talk about Diddy because he's hip hop, but you're gonna ignore all those other guys Vlad has. Either you don't watch the channel or you're just that oblivious. Hopefully, brother, you're not that oblivious. I'm keeping hope that you do keep abreast of what's going on Vlad TV. But it just doesn't sound like you really know what you're talking about as far as Vlad's platform goes. But be that as it may, Vlad didn't stop you, and I know why Vlad didn't stop you, because you was defending Vlad low key, and Vlad was just playing stupid, acting like he didn't know nothing about the Nickelodeon documentary. A guy like Vlad keeps up with things like this. And the Nickelodeon documentary was called Quiet on the Set. And the main person that was the main focus of the documentary was Dan Schneider, who I pretty much know as Dennis Blunden from the ABC sitcom Head of the Class, which came on back in the 80s. I'm a Gen Xer, by the way. So that's where I pretty much know Dan Schneider from. Now, after he put the acting game aside, he went on to do shows for Nickelodeon. Among them was Keenan Kel, Keenan and Kel, or however you say the name of that show, and all that, and Amanda Show, and some other programs that I can't think of at the moment. Pretty much at that time around the 90s, I pretty much grew out of Nickelodeon. My Nickelodeon heyday was in the 80s, from 85 to about 89. So that was my time frame as far as Nickelodeon goes. But yeah, I mean, it just boggled my mind that I mean, it really didn't boggle my mind that Vlad was quiet throughout the whole interview. He just sat back and just let Uncle Murda mentioned Dan Schneider, and Uncle Murda was like, "Yo, Vlad, Google it, Google it." My question for Uncle Murda: don't you have a phone? Why don't you Google it? Unless Vlad takes away the cell phones before the interview, but he could have Googled it himself. But I mean, I understand. Uncle Murda's heart was in the right place. I just wish he pretty much came with it and knew more information to go on to better enrich the whole interview. But I get where he was going with that here. But this is why Vlad isn't gonna go there, because Vlad believes, and to a degree, most of these hip hop platforms believe, with the exception of a few. But in this case, Vlad believes that his black viewership, or his majority urban viewership that he targets his clips towards, just only follows black pop culture and listens to black musicians and black vocalists, which is far from the truth. There are black folks that do indulge in white TV shows and white pop culture, or I hate to segregate pop culture, but in the way people like Vlad do that. But we do follow other areas of entertainment outside of people that look like us. But people like Vlad have this stereotypical notion that black people only just keep up with black stuff. That is far from the truth. And it's a shame that Vlad doesn't ask any of his black guests questions outside of that paradigm. He just stays within it, not go outside of it. So you're not going to hear a Vlad talk about the Quiet on the Set documentary or bring up Dan Schneider's name. Heck, he hardly brought up Harvey Weinstein's name or Danny Masterson. And the only time he brought up Danny Masterson was when he interviewed Danny Masterson's attorney, Tom Mesereau. But other than that, he's not going to talk about Danny Masterson with Boosie. He's not going to talk about it with Michael Jai White or any of his other black guests, because he believes that black people just follow other black stuff, which is just far from the truth. And another reason why he won't go there is just fairly obvious. Dan and Vlad have something in common, really. And you're not really going to see Vlad throw people of his tribe, so to speak, under the bus. He's not going to do that. But he will talk mad greasy about other black celebrities and throw them under the bus and get us to throw them under the bus along with him. But when it comes to somebody that's a member of the J tribe, he shuts his mouth just like he did right here on this clip. He's not going to say nothing. And see, this is the point where Uncle Murda should have just developed a conscience. He should have removed the lavalier mic and just walked off the set. Because Vlad just pretty much told you what he's all about. He didn't have to explicitly come out and say it, but his actions speak for itself. But I understand a lot of these black celebs, they ain't gonna really have a backbone, because people like Vlad that know that a lot of these guys have a price tag to their dignity and their integrity. He knows that a lot of them may be going through dire straits financially. Because if you're like within that industry or within that circle, and the work is not as constant as it was in years past, yes, you're gonna be feeling it, really, especially if you're not that good with your money. So if you're living a fast lifestyle and everything, you want to continue to live it. Unfortunately, you're gonna make some compromises, and this is what we see with people like a Tony Yayo and an Uncle Murda. So yeah, I mean, with guys like that, there's only two options, and I'm sure they don't want to go the 9 to 5 route or go back in the streets and hustle. So they want to continue living that fast life and that lavish lifestyle, but to do it while throwing your very people under the bus and talking mad greasy about folks that are a part of your culture, I don't know. And after this clip, those two went on to Vlad went on to ask him about Diddy and asking him about the upcoming Tyson and Jake Paul matchup and other related issues surrounding quote unquote black pop culture. So we know where Vlad's head is at. Uncle Murda, I know that your heart was in the right place, but if you just went a few steps further, I would be with you. I would be applauding and I would be rooting for you. But I understand. I really don't know what you and Tony Yayo's money situation is like, really, and what causes you to do the things that you do. But I just couldn't be in that position when I'm just throwing my own people under the bus and doing this and that, I'm like, in the words of Robert Townsend, there's work at the post office. So I went far too long than what I should have. So audience, tell me what you think. Let me know in the comment box. This is Iron Will Media.